On the 50th day after I donated a kidney to my mother-in-law, my husband, Marcus Thorne, had also been gone for a month. My surgical wound was severely infected and festering, but after emptying my pockets, I couldn't even afford the cheapest anti-inflammatory medicine. As I lingered outside the hospital, a stranger stopped me. "Madam, I'm Kevin, Mr. Thorne's new assistant. He asked me to deliver the restaurant's booking confirmation for your review." I stood in the cold wind, my mind a complete blank. Seeing that I didn't take it, Kevin simply opened the document respectfully and held it out. "Tomorrow night is your and Mr. Thorne's 2-year wedding anniversary. The restaurant is already set up." Mr. Thorne's exact words were, "As long as Scarlett Vance is happy, a few $100 million is worth it." But I wasn't Scarlett Vance. I dug my nails into my palms and spoke softly. "Got it. See you tomorrow night." The next evening, I arrived at the most luxurious restaurant in the city. A gentle-looking woman holding a cat approached me. She looked at my pale face and spoke with pity. "You're the girl Marcus sponsors, right? He said you gave up a kidney to save your family. Such a kind and dutiful girl." I forced a smile that was uglier than a cry, playing along with her words. "Yes, Marcus, he's kind-hearted." She didn't notice the strangeness in my voice, only looked at me with more sympathy. My gaze fell on her neck, where a magnificent pink diamond necklace sparkled. My breathing hitched for a second. I had seen this necklace before. 3 months ago, Marcus brought it home, all mysterious, and locked it in his safe. Curious, I reached out to touch it, but he snapped at me fiercely. "Don't touch it! It's for a big client, something worth tens of millions. If you break it, can you afford to pay?" At the time, I just thought he was stressed from work and in a bad mood, and I softly comforted him. Thinking back now, it was truly laughable. Gritting my teeth against the pain from my waist wound, I searched the banquet hall for Marcus. Instead, I saw several faces, both familiar and strange. Several of Marcus's uncles and relatives were in the center of the banquet hall, with plastered-on smiles, chatting with the celebrities and socialites around them. 5 years ago, when Marcus and I got married, he claimed his hometown was too far for relatives to travel, so we didn't even have a proper wedding reception. But today, for his anniversary with Scarlett, he'd invited all of the Thorne relatives. Scarlett saw me looking around and explained with a smile. "Marcus went to pick up his parents. They'll be here any minute." Hearing that, I froze for a moment, then gave a self-deprecating laugh. Marcus's mother, Brenda, was suffering from end-stage kidney failure, and the doctor said only a kidney transplant could save her. Without a moment's hesitation, I lay on the operating table and gave her one of my kidneys. After being discharged, I dragged my ailing body to wash and cook for them, treating them with the devotion I would my own parents. A month ago, Brenda held my hand, tears welling in her eyes, saying she was going to a nursing home out of state for rehabilitation therapy. "Evelyn, that place is a closed facility. To prevent infection, phones aren't allowed. You just focus on recovering, don't worry about us." Marcus's father, Arthur, chimed in from the side. "Yes, you've sacrificed so much for this family. We can't burden you anymore." Not only did I believe them, but to gather what they called the expensive therapy fees, I secretly went to the black market to sell my blood 3 times in 1 month, without Marcus knowing. The last time, I almost bled to death on the street. Brenda was casually using my kidney, taking the money I earned selling my blood, to attend her son's wedding anniversary with another woman. Scarlett didn't notice the immense hatred beneath my pale face and enthusiastically supported me. "Come, let me introduce you to Marcus's friends." She led me to the center of the banquet hall. As soon as we approached, a well-groomed socialite began flattering Scarlett. "Scarlett is truly blessed. Mr. Thorne isn't just young and accomplished. Taking his company public, he's also spoiled you into becoming the happiest woman in the entire city." Several socialites immediately agreed. "Exactly. I heard that in the 2 years you've been married, Mr. Thorne hasn't even let you hand wash a single piece of clothing. 2 years of marriage? So, in the 3rd year of our marriage, he'd already started another life. Clutching my bleeding lower back, I felt like I was about to collapse. In the past month, Marcus would occasionally send texts. Evelyn, take good care of your wound. Don't wander around. The company is in closed development for a new, crucial project. Wait for me to come back. These caring words, now, felt like venomous snakes, coiling around my heart, squeezing the breath out of me. He said his company was facing bankruptcy, that he could only eat crackers to stave off hunger every day, that the cash flow had broken, asking me to mortgage our only property to fill the hole. I poured everything I had into it, taking on massive debts to support him. It turned out I had never truly known the man I shared my bed with for 5 years. Mr. Thorne is truly a big spender. He just acquired that prime piece of land downtown without batting an eye. That's not all. I heard he even put 50% of his company's shares in Scarlett Vance's name. That's true love. Listening to the women's envious voices, it was then that I truly woke up. All those massive debts Marcus spoke of were carefully woven lies. Scarlett's face was flushed with shyness as she gently wiggled the massive diamond engagement ring on her hand. Oh, stop teasing me. A rich heiress grabbed her hand enviously. Scarlett, don't be modest. That island wedding 2 years ago, costing tens of millions of dollars, still hasn't been surpassed. So they even had a wedding. 5 years ago, I held my ID card, overjoyed at the thought of marrying him. But Marcus brushed me off with just one sentence. Early stages of entrepreneurship required cutting costs. No wedding, no reception, no ring. Only a marriage license and a promise. When I have money, I'll definitely give you the most magnificent wedding in the world. I stood amidst the elegantly dressed crowd, like a misplaced ghost. They were discussing Marcus's financial empire, asking Scarlett for tips on how to keep a man. Scarlett shared generously. Actually, I'm not good with money. Marcus set all the passwords for his bank cards to my birthday. He said his money was my money, and I could spend it freely. There was another gasp of amazement. Oh my God, that's so romantic. Whether a man loves you or not depends on if he's willing to spend money on you. Scarlett, you truly married the right man. Scarlett smiled even sweeter. He just loves doing things like this. Last month, he airshipped hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of my favorite French black roses, and a while ago, he bought me an entire vineyard just to store my favorite red wines. Yet, just the day before yesterday, Marcus was complaining to me about being broke in a text message. He said an important client needed to be handled, and he desperately needed $100,000. He said he was at his wit's end, begging me to find a way. I believed him, and I was even prepared to go to the black market again today to sell my blood one more time. Just then, Scarlett's phone rang. Before answering, she handed me the snow-white cat she was holding. Could you please hold Mimi for me? The cat wore a valuable collar, its fur perfectly groomed. It was obviously looked after 100 times better than me. Scarlett put the call on speakerphone in front of everyone. Marcus's doting voice came through. Sweetheart, is the air conditioning in the ballroom too strong? Go grab a shawl. Don't catch a chill. Scarlett responded playfully. I know, you're such a nag. Marcus chuckled on the other end. I'm downstairs with Brenda and Arthur picking out your gift. We'll be right up. You just wait for me. The call ended, and all the women in the room gasped with envy. Oh my God, Mr. Thorne is worth hundreds of millions and still so thoughtful. He's a total wife-pampering maniac. A once-in-a-lifetime good man like that is impossible to find. I held the cat and laughed, tears almost streaming down my face. A month ago, I had a massive hemorrhage after my kidney donation surgery and was in the ICU for 2 whole days and nights. Marcus merely had a nurse relay a message to me. The company has an urgent meeting, and he can't get away. At the time, I believed him completely, even feeling guilty for not being able to share his burden. It turned out he wasn't busy. He was just giving all his thoughtfulness and pampering to another woman. I retreated into the shadows of the corner, holding the cat. The cat seemed to like me, gently rubbing itself against me in my arms. Inadvertently, I looked down and was surprised to find that what hung around its neck was not a regular pendant at all, but a blood-red gemstone, crimson throughout. My pupils constricted instantly. I recognized it at once. This blood-red gemstone was my mother's relic. 3 years ago, my mom was in a car accident, and on her deathbed, she personally placed this blood-red gemstone into my hand. She said it was a protective charm that would keep me safe for life. Later, Marcus said he'd been unlucky lately and needed something to ward off evil. Without hesitation, I gave him the only memento my mother left me, as proof of my love for him. My hands trembled as I touched the inner side of the gem. There was a small, knife-carved initial, E for Evelyn there. My mother had personally carved it for me when she was alive. This was the only memento my mother left in this world, and now it was a cat's collar. Scarlett finished her mingling, came over with a glass of champagne, and sat beside me. She gently stroked the cat's fur, a hint of pride in her voice. Mimi was a bit scared recently and couldn't sleep well at night, so Marcus specifically went to the black market and paid a high price for this blood-red gemstone, saying it was to ward off evil for Mimi. For a cat's sleep, he could casually trample on my deceased mother's relic? I bit down hard on my tongue until I tasted blood, just to regain a shred of sanity. I forced myself to manage a smile. He's truly thoughtful. Scarlett looked at my old clothes with pity. Yes, that's just how he is. He appears cold, but he's actually very attentive. A year ago, I was feeling down because of my period, and he immediately dropped all his work and took me overseas for half a year of travel. That year, Marcus told me he defended local criminal gangs, was forced to borrow money, even had a hit out on him, and had to go to another state to lie low. He told me not to tell anyone, to keep it strictly confidential. I believed him, living in constant fear. I worked 4 jobs to pay off his so-called debts. One late night, while I was working a part-time job at a barbecue stand with my son Leo, I got into a conflict with a customer. To protect Leo, 2 of my ribs were broken, but I didn't even dare to tell Marcus, afraid of distracting him. It turned out that while I was being beaten half to death, he was overseas with his mistress, enjoying the sun and sand. Scarlett didn't seem to have any intention of taking the cat back, turning instead to chat with her best friend. Look, why is Mimi so well-behaved today? She's usually so fierce. She scratches anyone she doesn't know. I lowered my gaze, stroking the cat's soft fur, and replied softly, "Maybe. I have a familiar scent on me." Scarlett didn't think much of it and said happily, "That's great. You hold her for me. I'm going to touch on my makeup and I'll be right back." She lifted her skirt, gracefully gliding towards the powder room. I held the cat, my gaze fixed on the center of the stage. There, a massive flower wall made of the finest red roses was erected, bearing several dazzling, prominent letters. Marcus Thorne loves Scarlett Vance, forever and always. For his lies, I sold my blood, I donated a kidney. Yet he used my flesh and blood to throw such a grand ceremony for another woman. My phone vibrated frantically in my pocket. It was a FaceTime request from Brenda. I immediately answered. On the screen, Brenda wore a luxurious haute couture gown I'd never seen before, dripping with jewels. Her face showed no trace of illness. In fact, thanks to good care, she was radiant. "Evelyn, why haven't you transferred this month's $20,000 for the nursing home yet?" I looked at her hypocritical face, not even having the energy to humor her. "No money." She raised her voice. No money? I don't care what you do. You must transfer the money to me by tonight. I need it urgently here. As soon as she finished speaking, she impatiently hung up the video call. I expressionlessly opened Snapchat. 10 minutes ago, she had sent me a voice message. Evelyn, I just had a kidney transplant, and my body's having a strong rejection reaction. The doctor said I need to buy a special foreign medicine. It's very expensive, $50,000. Go get a loan online and transfer it to me right away. This entire family of vicious bloodsuckers. I trembled with rage, but didn't reply. Soon, a second voice message popped up. I opened it, and it was Brenda's malicious cursing. You ungrateful wretch. I spoiled you for nothing. My son marrying you was the worst luck imaginable. You won't even give me $50,000. You just want me to die. You ungrateful wretch. Karma will get you. Just then, Scarlett returned, lifting her skirt, her face with freshly applied, elegant makeup, smiling brightly. As she stood next to me, her phone rang. I clearly heard Marcus's voice from the other end of the line. Sweetheart, Brenda, to celebrate our anniversary, said she's giving you a house in an excellent school zone as a gift. The transfer contract has already been signed. It felt like something exploded in my brain. That house in the school district was supposed to be the only financial security my parents left for my 5-year-old son, Leo. Brenda had always held onto the property deed, claiming she was keeping it safe, so I wouldn't lose it. I had asked her for it countless times, but she always made excuses. I never imagined she would take my son's house and give it to his mistress. Scarlett quickly thanked her. Thank you, Brenda. You really dote on me. Brenda's haughty and smug voice clearly came through the phone. You deserve all of this. Our Thorne family daughter-in-law deserves the best. All right, I'm not saying anything more. We're coming up in the elevator now. The call ended, and Scarlett reached out, just about to take the cat back. From her peripheral vision, she caught Marcus, Brenda, and Arthur stepping out of the elevator, and she immediately went to greet them with joy. I still held the cat wearing my mother's relic. I looked in their direction and whispered softly, in a voice only I could hear. Your wedding anniversary? I'm definitely giving you a big gift. Marcus, in a perfectly tailored haute couture suit, escorted an equally radiant Scarlett towards the stage. All the lights in the hall began to focus on them. I walked onto the stage from the other side, still holding the cat. Just as Marcus picked up the microphone, ready to begin his heartfelt confession, I snatched the microphone from the host and calmly spoke. Marcus, how is Brenda enjoying my kidney?